been target of directed energy weapons since 2019.
Since 2019?
Yeah, in the summer of 2019.
3 years ago.
Just over 3 years ago, it started happening to me. And was diagnosed in 2020 with vestibular dysfunction due to directed energy exposure by the same team of experts that diagnosed Cuban diplomats.
Duncan?
Yes.
So I have an Ivy League background, education, and I've been studying in human rights activism for what is now currently termed Vanna syndrome, but this has been going on for quite some time. I worked for DARPA on projects for the CIA, for the Navy, for example, wrote the Artificial Intelligence Code, tracked the Soviet nuclear submarine fleet. But about 20 years ago, I realized some of my research was being utilized on my own citizens. And that was unacceptable to me. And since then, I've done hundreds of interviews, interviewed 2,500 victims or targeted individuals, as they're called, found commonalities of all their stories. And I've spoken to with the head of the LA FBI, to the Senate Intelligence Committee, 23 senators and representatives, with some interest. And I said, just wait when it starts happening to their agents, diplomats, and the FBI. So interestingly, a story came out yesterday that it's happening to the FBI now.
What is your educational background?
I have an MBA from Dartmouth, and Masters of Science from Harvard, PhD in Applied Sciences, Computer Science, Artificial Intelligence, pre-medical in engineering, and other classes from Stanford, Duke, and MIT. So, yeah, I've been in school most of my life.
And how did you get into working with DARPA and the CIA?
It was odd. I gave a resume to a headhunter, ironically, and they're called headhunters, and my head was taken for a CIA think tank. At the time, I didn't know it. It was a technology think tank. And it was all funded by DARPA, and then I got shuffled around as a scientist to these various other projects.
For people who aren't familiar, could you tell us what DARPA is?
Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. They do all of the pie in the sky projects, long-term, well-funded. I have some of the best scientists, and it's mainly where all the top secret research goes on, and that some of it I can talk about, some of it I can't, and it's a very fine line. I'm not trying to hurt my country, I'm not trying to hurt anyone here, but there is a cover-up going on about the Vanna syndrome, and so this is what we're hoping Len and I to expose today.
So when did you guys meet each other, and how did you guys meet?
So after I was diagnosed with Havana syndrome by Dr. Hoffer at the University of Miami, I started reaching out to elected officials, to all the researchers. One of the people I contacted gave me Robert's book, Soulcatcher, Project Soulcatcher. I read it, and I said, I have to meet this guy. And I contacted him on social media and made a trip. I live in the Chicago area, just about 45 minutes from downtown, and contacted Robert, said, asked to fly to meet him, and we flew to Idaho and spent the day talking And
Okay, y'all. This guy, Lynn, his familiarity with this technology stems from the fact in Havana, when they got attacked in Havana, I think 2000 what? 19? My familiarity with this technology stems from 97 at the Florence, Colorado Supermax complex in Colorado in the Rocky Mountains. Some of the names that's stuck in that place currently and in the past was me. I was one of them. You had Wayne Perry from DC, Silk. You had the Unabomber, the guy that allegedly blew up the World Trade Center, had a hand in it. Well, Timothy McVeigh's co-defendant. You also had Tupac's stepdad, Shakur. He was up in there. There's a lot of people stuck in these places, man. Ray out of Pasadena, Doc Holliday. Some of your most sophisticated people between Marion and ADX, Supermax, Federal Supermax Complex, some of your most sophisticated guys and most dangerous and most, there's some hell of a guys in there. But anyway, and I can't forget my boy, Mecca Podcast over there. Unique was there. We spent a lot of time there. Chopped it up a lot too. But anyway, I'm saying this to say my familiarity with this technology we finna dive into real deep stems from the ADX Federal Supermax. Now let me give you a little history about this. Alcatraz. Quite sure y'all familiar with Alcatraz. Way back in the day, this is where they had your Al Capones and all your old legend bank robbers in that place, because they used that place, the feds then, for their most sophisticated. It was like their last stop facility. And once they closed down Alcatraz, they end up passing the baton to a place called USP Marion, Illinois, to hold those after Alcatraz. So that's where they started sending. That was your last stop as far as the feds was concerned. You know, if you was too sophisticated, had too much money, too dangerous, too bad, that's what you would go to, Marion. So when Alcatraz shut down its operations in 1963, that's where everybody went. Fast forward, I made my rounds through the state, Soledad, Tracy, San Quentin, all the spots. And from there, I ended up allegedly on a bank robbery in the feds at 23 years old. I was given 18 years and sent off to do my time. Now, along the way, I did like 8 years in different federal penitentiaries all across the country, being flown here by the federal marshals, being flown there for about 8 years until they finally just said, hey, me along with some others, they say, hey man, we got a spot for y'all. We want to put y'all somewhere. So they sent us to Marion. And while in Marion, they had the ADX Supermax complex still under construction, which I guess they felt like, hey, it's too many people. There's these murders on the police up in here, in Marion, this, that, and the other. We need another spot that can contain and hold these cats.